Hello, everybody, and welcome to Wowhead Weekly number 179. I am Annie, also known as Annie Fuchsia. I full-time stream on Twitch, and sometimes I do other fun stuff like this podcast every week. Well, speaking of every week, we've actually been a little bit off schedule the past couple weeks because of BlizzCon. Our BlizzCon stream, which we did IRL, just went up on YouTube, so if you want to check it out, it should be the last Wowhead Weekly video. And it was fun. It was a different experience, and definitely something that we would consider doing again if we do end up being in the same place where we could recap something. My co-host, as usual, for tonight's stream or tonight's show will be Perculia.
Hey everyone, I'm the site director for Wowhead. I oversee all the news and guides and other features on the site, and it's always really fun to do the show, every week just to catch everyone up on what's been really important on the site and in the news and answer some of your questions. So thank you for joining us. We also have a giveaway that SAS has provided. The giveaway keyword is Yeti, not YETI, and the prize is Womper, and the pet starts with a W, not a Y, and that is the new pet, and all the proceeds through the end of the year go to charity. So enter, if you're watching Twitch chat, you can type in Yeti for a chance to get that battle pet.
I actually love it when they do these kind of things because I know that pets are very popular. Well, mounts are too, but pets are also very special. So whether they're from the store or in the game itself, being able to pay towards a pet, but where all the money actually goes to charity is it's a great motivation, you know? Like sometimes people feel like, oh, you know what, I may not want to pay real money for pixels in my game. But in this case, all that money goes to charity, so it's a double win.
Yeah. So, we have some BlizzCon straggler news, still kind of important. We have a lot of 8.1 spoilers and cutscenes, some lore updates, and then we also have some updates related to patch 8.1. And, at BlizzCon, it was announced that patch will be hitting December 11th. So let's start with some of the 8.1 content updates we learned about in the last, week or so since our IRL stream.
The first thing that we have up here is the big experience nerf. So I know this probably makes a lot of people happy, and I actually took a screenshot of part of it so you guys can see what the numbers are looking like. Here, I'm showing the range from level 40 to level 80. I realize this might be very, very small numbers for some of you guys, especially if you're watching on mobile, but I'll quickly just go through it anyways to give you an idea. So around level 40, the experience has been nerfed by around 30%, and when we hit 60, the experience has been nerfed by around 40%, and that continues until level 70-ish, where it starts going down again and hits 25% at level 80. So I think this is very interesting because they specifically increased the experience needed for all of these level ranges back when was it? When the heirlooms were nerfed? When
Was that
the revamp.
Yeah, 735 was the revamp with the
zone scaling.
Level
Yes.
160. And
That's
then in the pre-patch they were talking about how they knew that there were problems after the stat squish and how some level bands were kind of painful, and they wanted to do some research before making nerfs, and it seems that we're finally getting these nerfs a few months later.
Because I remember when the scaling was introduced, and they also increased the experience needed with the explanation that, well, now that you're going to be in a zone, you don't want to level, or you don't need to level out very fast because you can actually stay there and the leveling will be more enjoyable, and you can choose where you want to level. So if you want to skip an expansion, for the most part you could skip the expansion, so that was kind of the reasoning around that, but I still never understood why the leveling needed to take longer. And I guess now, a few months later, they actually nerfed it, which I think makes a lot of sense. I'm glad that they did that.
And they were talking about the 60 to 80 range being especially painful, so that's the part that got the highest nerf, the 40%. So also, in addition to the leveling nerfs, we data mined some heirlooms recently, and a potion that increases the experience gain by 10%. So leveling in patch 8.1 should be less painful than it is now.
time to level alt, especially if they're below 110. At 110, the experience doesn't really change that much, but
Yeah, because
anything below that
that's the
has been
current
drastically.
expansion.
Yeah, it makes sense. I saw a lot of complaints like, yeah, but 110 to 120 feels so long, but that's when you're playing the new content. So I think it
Right.
makes sense. You're leveling through the new zones, new quest lines, and it would be weird for you to level out too fast because, especially
Yeah.
if you're somebody who cares about the different factions and reputations, because you're gonna have to go through all of those quest lines anyways, to unlock
Yeah,
the
and if you want
dungeons.
flying, you need to do the story quest for all zones. So, and who, if you really want things to be faster, then you care about flying. So, you'll have to complete those quests whether you're doing them as you're leveling or if you're doing them at max level for flying. And if you're doing them as you're leveling, at least you get experience and some, gear along the way.
That's an interesting question. So, the level. So let's say you do questing on your main, but you skipped one of the zones, and then you have an alt. Can you complete the requirements for flying by doing that one zone that your main hasn't done?
Yeah, I believe so, but if you did I don't know, like 50 quests in one zone on character A and then like
Yeah.
80 quests in the same zone, I don't think that would count. But if you do all of one zone on one character and then another zone on a different character, then it would count.
Okay, well, that's also great then, because then you have more reason to be in that zone with your ults and make sure that you go through all the quests.
Yeah.
And also, an additional way to level that has been pretty successful for a lot of people is island expeditions. So if you've done all the quests and you're not interested in questing at all, and you want something that feels a little bit possibly faster, you could do island expedition leveling. I believe the way that people are doing it is that they're spamming it on normal mode, and especially if you have a twink with you in the group, they actually go really, really, really fast.
Yeah. And I think they're adding something where there's a flight whistle where you get flight paths even if you're just doing things like islands. I think they announced something with this at BlizzCon how if your alts are just leveling in instance things like islands or dungeons, there's a special item that you can get on your main that unlocks flight paths. So you don't have to run around, which also seems nice as well.
And it's with 8.1 that they're removing the requirements for the different reputations as well, right? On individual characters. So that means you don't have to worry if you don't have a specific reputation on your ult, because your main's reputation will unlock those items that you may be interested in for your ult
like
as
the
well.
Cosmetic items, like I'm thinking of the Garrison Trading Post, the interesting various orc tribes, like the Laughing Skull
For
mask.
example.
That's for example, yeah.
And
So.
I assume it would also mean the epics that you can get from the new vendors in Borealis, for example. Well, not just Borealis, but where the new reputation vendors are. They all, I believe, had like one epic piece each, which could be useful for
I'm not sure
ult.
about those, or if it's
No?
just the tabard or the cosmetic things.
Maybe it's
but,
just the cosmetic stuff. I might be wrong. Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's just like the fun vanity collection stuff, so you don't have to regrind stuff out for transmog. But that's still good to know. So it's not like, oh, well, I can never play this all because I, don't have this super pretty outfit. So that's still something.
I see a question in the chat. Reps are just shared for achievements though, right? So yeah, your character, your ult will not have the reputation maxed out per se. So if you look at your character, it's still going to be, I don't know, honored or friendly or whatever level it's at. But it will count towards the achievements, like you said. So if your alt has one of those old school reputations that your main doesn't have because your main is maybe a newer character, then that will still count as one reputation towards your 100 reputations achievements. The thing that I'm talking about here, which I'm not 100% sure on how it works, the vendors that sell items that is locked behind a reputation, I'm not sure what items will be available to your ults by being unlocked by a main.
I think it's
only
just
the cosmetic
stuff.
Okay.
And then it's account wide because of the appearance tab. So anything that shows up in the appearance tab, you can use that appearance, but I don't think you can actually just go and buy the
a gear upgrade. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. But yeah, so the reputation, somebody says it already counts for achievements. Has that change already been put in?
No, that's coming in 8.1. So if you wanted to work on like the 100 it's exalted factions for the mount, that's another improvement coming in 8.1.
There we go. Yeah, so it's in 8.1. I think the way that it is account wide in this in a sense right now is that your highest ult would count towards it, and if you unlock the
Mm-hmm.
mount, you could use it on any character.
Right.
Uh, but at the moment, if you have one of those lost reputations somewhere on an ult, it would not count today. But
Right.
in 8.1, it would. So if you're at 99 and you have that
Like it'd be
one
like
reputation,
like Chandralar
for
or like
example,
Xandralar
Chandralar,
Tribe.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So those reputations can now be counted towards your total in 8.1, that is.
Yeah.
But yeah,
Uh,
moving on, more stuff that we saw in the PTR are changes in the Darkshore zone. So we've got some pictures to share with you guys as well.
yeah, I'm super excited about this because Darkshore looked in pretty rough shape, obviously, with the, burning tree in the background and all the ash and smoke. And it's now extinguished. So it kind of looks, I mean, it's sad, but it doesn't look as horrible. It almost looks like there's, I don't know, hope on the horizon, how the tree has
Yeah,
finally stopped burning.
yeah,
Uh,
yeah. I see what you mean. Because it's definitely sad looking at it, but it doesn't feel as much in pain anymore.
yeah.
Like it looks like
And
now is the new beginning, possibly.
yeah. Uh, there's a lot of rare spawns in the area. Some of them are based on the lore of pre-battle for Azeroth Darkshore. So, for example, uh, there's always like the Twilight Hammer camp by the Master's Glaive, and they have been summoning Saga the Slitherer for ages. Well, he's finally there as a rare spawn. So, after years, they have finally summoned this faceless one, that
Mm.
you've been seeing, like decades. And then there's other things like the Athricus Narison, who was the Highborn located at the Tower of Athalax. He is now a rare. Gren Tornfur, who is a named NPC in War of the Thorns, is also a rare. So it's nice to see the story continue. The Moonwell that Tyrande uses in the Night Warrior questline is now changed and is very dark with dark moon magic. And all of the sentinels in the area also have the dark eyes because the Moonwell has empowered them as well, which I think is interesting how it's not just Tyrande being powerful, it's all of her followers now have this special
Mm-hmm.
appearance.
You even see it on the
And
saber.
yeah, so they all mean business, and it's really something how the story was that Elune would only gift this to her greatest warrior, and it was too dangerous for night elves in the past to undertake. And now it's not just Tyrande having this power, but others are also having some power as well.
Mm-hmm.
Which the Horde better need because the Horde have taken up Lord Donald. Hello, cat. The Horde have taken it over, and sadly, that whole town is now covered in plague and looks green, but the
Mm-hmm.
green of plague, not the green of life. Brightpaw!
Oh.
No, cat, you knocked over my water.
Oh
No,
no.
honey. Brightpaw.
Brightpaw is a
Aw,
wild one.
no.
Just hashtag
Brightpaw.
cat things, you know?
He just, oh my,
Is your
Brightpaw, this
keyboard
is not
okay?
good. The keyboard's fine, but he just got like half of the desk wet, and
Oh.
that was not good, Brightpaw. Bad.
Brightpaw being Brightpaw.
Yep.
Yeah, it seems like the keyboard is okay. Does he like the water? Like, does he start drinking it?
Yes. Yeah, he's. If you can see him, he's back on the desk,
I saw him on the
just
table. I
stepping in
wasn't
it.
sure if that's what he's
Yes.
doing. Oh.
Brightpaw, you are distracting
Well,
from this
if you want
very
to
important update.
if you want to dry it up,
Yeah,
I can
it's
just go
fine.
on to the next topic.
It's fine. He'll just he's rolling. in
He'll
the
dry
water
it.
now. Yeah. He's drying it out himself.
Okay. Well, that works. That works. I believe that was it for the zone changes in Darkshire.
Yeah.
But yeah, it is interesting how they have added all those NPCs as rares now for us to go and be in combat with.
Yeah, it's like Arathi Highlands, how that got a visual update,
Mm-hmm.
and then there are all the various rares that you can, kill to get toys and mounts and
Mm-hmm.
pets. And,
Mm-hmm.
there's a world boss, and
Mm-hmm.
the zone feels more alive, which is needed because it was sort of in this weird post-Cataclysm stasis where
Mm-hmm.
it's like, oh, Deathwing just ruined things, we're saving the zone, and Cataclysm has been years ago, and we're still saving the zone. So
Yeah.
now it shows that the zone is changing to reflect the story, which is always a
Mm-hmm.
good thing.
And speaking of Arathi Highlands being a Warfront, we have
Yeah.
some new Warfront updates as well. And I think this will make a lot of people happy.
Mm-hmm.
So we have a currency, a revamp for Warfronts with a new currency where
Yes.
that you can earn through contributions, through winning, and through new world quests that will be available in the Warfronts as well. The new currency is called Service Medals, if I'm not mistaken.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
And these can be used to buy things such as mounts, pets, transmog, heirlooms, and also the XP potion that Perk mentioned earlier on.
Yeah.
And the XP potion was a 10% experience bonus, and it looks like it stacks to 20, so that it looks like it's probably something that you can, keep sending your alt forever.
Exactly. Yep.
And just keep, having it up. So, more reasons to do Warfronts. I mean, if I can do Warfronts and work towards my mounts and also possibly get some experience nerfs, or not nerfs, but experience buffs for my alts, that would make me more happy to do them, so...
Yeah, Blizzard was talking about in an interview with the Starting Zone at BlizzCon how they wanted to revamp the whole Warfront quest flow. So, for example, there would be fewer contributions, so you wouldn't be, breaking the bank doing things like enchanting, those really expensive ones. But then once you unlock the zone, you'd have a lot more to do. So, for example, you'd have like 10 world quests, and they would all have these service medals when you completed the world quest. It wouldn't just be, oh, look, the zone opened, I can kill the world boss, and killing the bearers resets in 2 weeks. Now there's actual stuff to go back and do, and there's some really pretty stuff like the priestess's moon saber, so you feel like you're actually have something to work towards with these rewards. It's not just the RNG of, oh, I killed this mob and it didn't drop the mount, guess I'll try again in 3 weeks type of thing. So I'm happy they are adding that, and this also includes the heirlooms, which are good if you want to tank. There's like heirloom trinkets with a haste party buff, a threat reduction on use, a cloak with stats focused on tanks like versatility. So if you don't care about the mounts and pets, but you want to do Warfronts, this is still good for leveling your alts.
And another interesting item is the Captain's Signet of Command, which is the Alliance version of a ring with portal, which reminds us of the Kirin Tor ring, which took us to Dalaran. And this ring will teleport you to Boralis or Dazara Lore for Horde players. And I mean, if you're not interested in vanity items, I think this is something that would interest a lot of people, because that means you can put your Hearthstone somewhere else. And
exactly.
So yeah, I like this. That's gonna be awesome to have.
Yeah, and I think we might have talked about the mounts last time, but they updated the Scorpions to be the Krolusks, and they look pretty cool. So they're more colorful than the ones we got with Glory of the Uldir Raider. The Horde one looks especially cool. It's like kind of orange, but like a gradient tint. So that's pretty neat. The pets are cool. They're little baby raptors, super cute.
So the Horde ones got the Krollusk that we just saw on the screen, and now it's switched to a bat.
Yeah.
Never mind, it just switched back to the Krollusk. But the bat is also a Horde mount. It's the more expensive one for service medals. And there we go. There's the bat. And then the Krollusk is the slightly cheaper one in terms of number of service medals. And for the Alliance, the equivalent is, let's see.
I think the Alliance got the better deal.
There we go. The very pretty saber. And now it's switched over to the Krollusk, so we're going to have to look at them for a few seconds. But yeah, so these are the Alliance versions of the rewards. We're back to the very pretty saber again.
Yeah. And if you missed past shows, this is just one of several vendors being added, I think in response to a lot of people saying, we discussed this on the show too, that there was like too much RNG and not stuff you could work towards in BFA. So for example, there's a bright paw in the way. There is a vendor coming for island expeditions for the Seafarer Doubloons. And I think there's a third vendor coming as well. The Mythic
Azerite?
Plus vendor. Yeah, the Mythic Plus Azerite vendor coming. So there is, if you're not super lucky on stuff, you can at least work towards these long-term goals, as opposed to feeling that you just sort of wasted a few hours and you have nothing to show for it.
Mm-hmm. I also want to give you guys a sneak peek on the pets that are available. So they're actually pretty cute. They have big
Yeah.
eyes and they come in two colors. And I think it's the same raptor pets for both factions.
I think the Alliance gets the green one and the Horde gets the red one.
Okay, there you go.
Yeah. Yeah.
There you go. Now we know. Thanks, Perk. And I think that covered all the interesting vanity
Yeah.
items.
Yep. So another topic which came up yesterday actually was that, reminding people that everything in patch 8.1 does not come at once, it's staggered. So we've been talking about things that you can 100% do when 8.1 comes out, like the war fronts and the currency grinding and these new vendors. But Blizzard reminded us that things are coming later on. So with the start of season 2, we're going to have all new PvP gear, new Ring of Azerite traits, and the Battle of Dazar Allure raid. And they didn't give us a date at BlizzCon, but yesterday
No.
they said that was all coming in January.
Mm-hmm. So what they said at BlizzCon was, so the new expansion is coming out, what was it, December 11th?
11th, yeah.
December 11th. But guys, don't worry. You're not going to have to raid through your holidays. So you're not going to have to worry about any raiding until after the holidays. And that was all we were told. And now we know, I mean, I guess it could have been guessed as well, but now we know for sure that it's in January. They specifically specified it.
Yeah, and if you're on the PTR and you're wondering what to test, the PTR is in a pre-season 2 state. So you're not going to have Azerite with the extra ring, and you can't really test out the new Mythic Plus ability on the PTR, and that's going to be coming soon TM.
I see somebody in the chat mentioning no arena till January. I mean, I assume that means the current season will just continue.
Exactly.
Yeah, so the PvP season will just continue as it is right now until season 2 comes out. So it's probably going to be no arena for like a week or so. I don't think it'll be a month of no arena. I think even with 8.1, it's still going to be the same season of arena because we're still in the same gear, right? So it's only in the next season when the new raid comes out where there's new gear. So then people will change. And the new Azerite ring as well, so new powers and new everything.
Yeah, so when Season 2 comes out, the item level of the rewards from dungeons, PvP, emissaries, warfronts, all that will be adjusted. That won't be happening in December. That's January as well. Mm-hmm. So you don't have to worry about like, oh, well, if I want a PvP, I need to increase my item level, so I have to grind stuff out. You can't. The item levels aren't increasing in December.
Mm-hmm. I think the main reason why 8.1 was pushed earlier than the rest of it is because 8.1 actually brings a lot of changes to the game in itself. So, the Warfront changes with the currency vendors, same with the Azerite vendor and currency. So I think it's just a nice way for us to play the non-raid parts of the game and make sure that all of those things are working as intended.
Yeah, so like work on the war campaigns, progress the story forward, progress the Darkshore story forward as well. All of those are things that, you can do in the interim so it doesn't feel that there's nothing to do in game, which I mean, it has felt kind of dead these past few weeks outside of the, PTR. Like even the holidays haven't really gotten a ton of updates. So, starting the story up again, I think would be really good.
Mm-hmm. I see somebody mentioning, give us back the ability to change models. Are we not able to switch back to old models right now in the game?
I think that's been turned off. I don't know if Blizzard is like, oh, well, in Classic, you get the old models type deal. But that was something
I did not know that.
Been, like slightly, it was slowly being phased out. Like a different model would break every time since they were trying to, have both enabled and warlords. And I think at this point, a lot of the characters aren't compatible and were sort of turned off temporarily.
Do you think it was a permanent thing because of new gear that's being designed?
I'm not sure if it's like a bug that they can't fix, and then with Classic, they were just like, well, people can see these old models
in
anyway.
Classic, yeah. Interesting. Yeah, I have
Even
no
the
idea.
NPC models, it's like you want to see an old Sylvanas, well, go to classic. You don't have an option to toggle off and on the old models.
No, true. I always thought it was because of the new models maybe being taking a little bit more resources or something. So it's an option for people to like turn down the requirement for the game. But I don't know. I know that a lot of people liked to toggle it off just because they preferred the old look for I suppose nostalgic reasons. But yeah, I'm not sure if they've given any kind of final word on that. So I guess we'll see.
Yeah.
And no, you will not keep transmog gear from classic onto your main account.
No,
They have
all
talked
that's
about it.
split.
Yeah, they talked about it on Q&A. They don't want people to play classic to get something for their main game, you know. I mean, well, for their main World of Warcraft.
People playing classic don't want that either. Like,
No.
I don't care about this game. I'm just here to like get something for an achievement on the other game. No one wants that.
Yeah. Like, imagine somebody takes a piece of gear that you want, and he's like, well, I need it for transmog on my main, you know?
Yeah, in BFA.
Yeah, in BFA. So I think it makes sense. I think it's good that they're keeping it separate, even if sometimes it could be tempting, like, oh, I wanna have this on my BFA account. I think it makes sense to keep them separate.
Yeah.
My classic transmog may get lost if they decide to ban the model. I'm not sure what you mean with ban the model. So whatever you obtain in classic will stay in classic.
Yeah, and you can't transmog in classic.
Like, yeah, there's no transmog in classic.
If you want to have a matching set, you just put the gear on and take a picture of yourself. You can't transmog in classic.
Yeah, you have to put on the gear that you want to be shown. You can't change how they look.
Yeah.
So yeah. The next topic here is kind of going back to the cosmetic and mounts and stuff. We have a very pretty new mount to show off, and it's a mount which will drop off of a mythic Jaina encounter. Does this mean that the Alliance will still be able to get it?
Yeah, the Alliance can still get it because when you fight Jaina, the Alliance talks to an NPC that unlocks a Horde story flashback, and in that flashback, similar to Caverns of Time, you turn into a character of a faction that makes sense. So it's like mercenary mode. All the Alliance characters.
So we're fighting Jaina too, as Alliance.
We fight Jaina.
Oh, okay.
We pretend to be the Horde though.
Yeah. Okay, that makes sense. But yeah, here it is in action. Yeah, you can go on. It's just the mount showing.
Yeah. Oh, I just was going to say that actually Blizzard has raid testing for Heroic Jaina for the very first time during Wowhead Weekly for a very short period of time. So I'm going to check the VODs after and see if we learn anything about her in the lore. But she drops a lot of cool stuff. She has like a 2-piece set that can reduce movement speed. She can drop a glyph of the tides that changes your water elemental to be more blue. She drops an offhand, which lessens the effects of one of her deadly abilities when you battle her. So I guess if you have more of them, then it becomes easier over time. But yeah, she is the final boss. And a detail I thought was cool, in one of the interviews, they were talking about how the really pretty Jaina statue revealed at BlizzCon kind of has her like standing on some like water or ice that's splashing at her feet. And that's envisioned as the top of this mythic mount. So if you look at the mount, you have like the little stuff coming out of the water and the elemental's head. The top of the mount is like the
that's the bottom of her
statue.
Yeah.
So I think that's cool.
That is really cool. I remember mages being a little bit upset when they got their what were they called? The class mounts, which was like a disc.
Yeah, that was not good. Yeah.
And I remember some people saying, why didn't we get a water elemental? Like, look at shamans. They got that cool stuff. And, well, now everyone gets a chance to get a water elemental. I think it looks really cool. And I think it's going to be very, very popular. And any raider guild will have, or will probably make a lot of gold selling it. Is it a definite drop?
It's a mythic drop. So usually the mythic mounts are the 100%
until next year.
Until it's nerfed.
Cool. Yeah, that's going to make a lot of gold for a lot of guilds.
Yep. It's super cool. But yeah, speaking of some other fun items from raids, we also noticed that we discussed a few of them, but Blizzard has added a lot of these kind of flavor effects to items, which I think is really cool because there was been a lot of complaints that, Azerite gear is so straightforward and doesn't really have like personality, and all the gear from the raid like looks the same now, and it's just, it kind of feels like a numbers game. And a lot of these items now have interesting procs that maybe they don't look different, but the procs add some personality to them, reflecting the character it drops from. So, for example, Mechatorque has some fun things. For example, the mech jockey grips, you move 20% faster while piloting a mount created by an engineer. He also has a cape that increases your engineering by 5, and a gun that fires a buster shot. While the Treasure Guardian encounter, which is, taking place in a bank, you can get these boots that when you loot gold, it increases your movement speed by 30% for 6 seconds.
That's cool.
Yeah. So there's a lot of fun items like these. I think you're showing a picture right now of the stuff. Since we data mined it, we even found they added some yesterday where there's these tiaras now, and there's a use effect where it creates a gem once a day, which, I don't know, I just think stuff like that's fun.
Yeah, no, I agree. I love it.
Yeah.
I find the engineering mount very interesting because if I happen to get that piece of gear, I'm going to be like, well, I'm changing my favorite mount thingy to only summon engineering mounts.
Right,
so I can always be fast.
If you're like an herbalist and you're doing old content.
Yeah.
Like, I know that the current zones, you get that movement speed bonus, like in like Legion Pathfinder, but if you're in like Outland or Northrend and you're trying to herb or move around quickly, then these grips could be more important.
Oh yeah, because wait, the Sky Golem is an engineer mount, right?
Yeah.
And people use that because it doesn't, for people who may not have known, if you use a Sky Golem and you're trying to skill your herbalism or just farm some herbs, when you are herbing, if that's a verb, it doesn't dismount you. So a lot of people use that flying mount to grind or to farm some herbs or mines for that matter, orbs, I mean, even. And now with this piece of armor, you could be 20% faster.
Exactly.
Apparently the piece is leather, so that means maybe the rest of us may not actually have a piece like that, but it's still cool. It's still cool.
I know there's a lot of discussion that the gold boots are mal, so, I guess if you're like a plate wearer, you could wear them, but cloth and leather users don't have something that's equivalent. But, I think it's a good step, and I think it's kind of fun. I mean, they're not these... Hopefully these will not be like game-breaking bonuses.
Yeah, I don't think they will be. But like if someone's faster than me, it's not that big of a deal. I mean, unless I start getting ganked by a rogue who's always faster than me, it's gonna be fine.
Yeah, I think it's okay to add some little variations in
definitely. I agree. We also have some transmog updates.
Yeah, speaking of armor. This week's build added some new transmog sets that we think are coming from the new islands, because they're themed after Vrykul and kind of Gilneas fashion, including a top hat.
And people are so excited about the top hat.
Yeah. So we've got this really pretty Fallen Rune Lord set, which kind of reminds me of like Legion and Stormheim. We have the Dark Animator set, which reminds me of the old Scalaman's Cloth set, and then the Iron Weave the special 0.5 set you would get doing the Armor quest line in Classic. So that set's back, and it looks like what Sylvanas was wearing originally as well. Then we have the Duskhaven dress set, which is a very pretty robe with a top hat. And then we have the Duskhaven pantsuit set, which has different appearances for male and female models. And the top hat is super cool. People are really excited about this. Sadly, it's just cloth, but it's better than, cannot be transmog.
Yeah, for sure. And if it's cloth, that still means people can wear it. So
yeah,
if they want to RP, they could still just put it on. So it's okay.
Yeah.
And more transmog stuff. The Death Knights may be very happy to hear that there's going to be new items which will fill the DK tier 10. And I think there might be more of them, or is it only the DK one?
There are three sets are getting things filled in. So the Sleet Guard set is for the DK 25-man tint, the kind of navy blue tint. There are some items, winter scale. There was some like miscellaneous mail items that dropped from various dungeons and kind of non-tier raids that were missing shoulders, and they now have shoulders. And similar with the Frost Hoof set, I think this fills in a kind of brown Tauren looking crafted or questing set. So 3 sets from Wrath are getting things filled in, which I think is a good thing and shows that Blizzard is listening to people that care about transmog. And like that Death Knight set is so cool, and it's when it's missing the shoes, you're like, what do I do?
Yeah, exactly. Somebody asking, is that DK only or any class can farm the boots? From what we can see, they just look like regular greens. So
yeah, and
anyone with the
BOE.
armor type.
Yeah, they're BOE as well, so you could trade them or buy them on the auction house if you wanted to.
I think that's it for the PTR updates.
Yeah, so this next section has a lot of, not like crazy spoilers, but enough that we should maybe put up warning. They're like little cutscenes highlighting stuff that's coming in 8.1. So I guess we should put up
the spoiler tab.
Warning. Yeah.
Yeah. It's up. So we're safe. So if you're not interested in spoilers, you can tune out for a little bit, maybe mute us, and maybe come back in 10 minutes or so.
Yeah. So, this first thing was interesting timing because we data mined the cutscene, and then we saw an interview where Blizzard alluded to something, and they didn't mention the cutscene, but it had to be it, so we put 2 and 2 together, and it looks like that Dazar Allure is getting a special skybox after the raid, kind of like how after Tomb of Sargeras, we had Argus as in the sky for a small period of time. So that's super cool. And in the cutscene, King Rastakhan is yelling Bon Samdi again because the Alliance are invading his city and he needs help from Bon Samdi that he's entered into this pact with. And Bon Samdi raises the Blood Moon, which is similar to what you see in his necropolis in Nazmir, and then starts reanimating a lot of fallen bodies and animals to be skeletons that are fighting on the behalf of Rastakhan and the Horde.
Where have we seen that before?
Yep. So now I'm like, why is Bon Samdi, we learn later on that Bon Samdi doesn't like Sylvanas for raising everything and distorting balance, but it seems that he's willing to make an exception
if he's the
right. In this cutscene, Bon Samdi is like, why do you need my help again? And Rastakhan says, aid us or you will be the Loa of a ruined kingdom with no one to remember your name. So it's like, well, if Rastakhan dies and Dazar Allure falls, like I'm going to be the Loa of, nothing, and I better raise some things temporarily just to make sure that the city survives. But you can also see in this cutscene that he's already kind of impatient with Rastakhan, that this guy seems to be constantly messing things up, and he keeps talking about that, through the raid. Like later on, he's like, you're really demanding, I'll give you the power, but you better watch your tone, and you've been king a long time. If you won't get the job done, perhaps your daughter will do a better job. So
which brings back the pact that they had before.
Yep. Which I don't know, do we want to play the audio for this next bit or just summarize it? It's weird. We have this cutscene, and it's like they encrypted the visuals, but the audio...
It's only audio, yeah.
Yeah.
I think we can talk about it, but I do have screenshots of the dialogues.
Okay.
So we could show that.
Yeah. So in this audio, spoiler, we fight Rastakhan in Battle of Dazar Allure. No surprises, he would rather fight the Alliance and die than surrender to the Alliance. And this cinematic, is as he's dying. And we have some dialogue, but there's lots of dramatic music and lots of interludes where nobody is saying anything and there's just very dramatic music. So we still think there's something going on that we don't quite know. But
Mm-hmm.
basically, you know, Tyrande sees her father dying. He's just like, forgive me, forgive me. And then sometime later, she meets Bwonsamdi, who's like, oh, you're my queen. And she's like, what's going on? And Bwonsamdi then realizes that she doesn't know about their deal. And you almost wonder if, like, Bwonsamdi just shows up and is trying to, like, infuse Tyrande with some special death magic, because Talanji's like, what have you done to me? And
Yeah.
like, and it's almost wondering, like, how the Horde were losing, and all of a sudden they seem to become really strong enough to, you know, make the Alliance flee the city. So you almost have to wonder if, like, Tyrande now has some special extra powers that she's using on people as a result of Bwonsamdi empowering her, thanks to Rastikon's deal.
Because I think the word choice is very interesting. Like, what have you done to me? Like, it's not even like, what have you done, right? It's what have you done to me specifically. So she must be either feeling or seeing something happening within herself on her body. And she's not sure why, because she was never told of the pact. And in case there's anyone here in the stream who's not 100% remembering what actually happened. So King Rastakhan, to get Bwonsamdi's help, he had to make a deal, and it went so far that he basically promised his bloodline for Bwonsamdi. So basically anyone who is the next king or queen coming from his blood now, in a way, belongs to Bwonsamdi. And Tyrande did not know this. And now King Rastakhan is gone, and now Tyrande is in his grips, and she is very confused, clearly, of what is going on. So
and this is also the Loa that is the official Loa of Kings that they draw their power from. So at the start of Battle for Azeroth, Razan was the Loa of Kings, and, you know, we had, like, the Zandalari Paladins, and they were getting the power of the light, and he was, you know, summoning, like, golden dinosaurs. And now, if Talanji's trying to call upon a Loa for power, she's going to get Bwonsamdi instead, which is not who she thought she would be summoning.
So that's what's going on there.
Yeah, so really curious to see what it, you know, looks like.
How Tyrande will respond to it. Yeah.
Yeah. I think this means that we'll also get a cutscene for Jaina if Rastakhan has this special cinematic and he's not the final boss. He's, you know, boss number 6.
That's a good point. Yep.
Yeah. So some other cutscenes that we got. These next two, we already had a sense, if you're following along with the story, of what happens, because a few weeks ago they were just little quest turn-ins, and now Blizzard is making them more dramatic. But I think it's interesting to mention how there is some symmetry, that some moments of triumph for both the Alliance and Horde in 8.0 have been completely undone in 8.1. So on the Horde side, we have a cinematic where Lady Ashvane is broken out of the prison and is now agreeing in desperation to a deal with Sylvanas, because they both hate the Proudmoore family. And then the Alliance cutscene, the Alliance breaks into the Horde treasure room and steals the Abyssal Scepter, which was, like, the big triumph, you know, of the culmination of the 8.0 campaign. And now they will use the scepter to create a fake attack on Nazmir to draw the Horde out, and then slip into Dazar'alor and attack the city. So these moments of triumph, you know, the Horde stealing the scepter, you know, Jaina defeating Lady Ashvane and saving Boralis, these two moments are kind of undermined by what happens next.
I see somebody asking if they can watch this cutscene anywhere. So we do have some cutscenes, or videos rather. It's kind of a part of a quest line, so it's not a typical cutscene. So we weren't sure if we should show them or not. But we could give you guys links for them.
Yeah, they're also, like, a work in progress. Like, you hear, as you're breaking out of the treasure, you have, like, seagull noises in the background, which is kind of weird.
Yep. So there's the two cutscenes. So the first one, well, actually, I think the Ashvane cutscene wasn't too bad. We could show that one.
Yeah, we could show that.
Let's show it. Let's see. Here it is.
You only broke me out of that cell because you need something from me.
Very perceptive, Lady Ashvane. I believe we have mutual interests to discuss.
Seems we need to find our own way back.
Such is the way of things. This war has taken many turns. It seems to me our current path is perilous.
Indeed, my friend. The Horde is at a crossroads once again.
There it is. And I find that line also very interesting there at the end by Rexar. The Horde is at a crossroads again.
Yep, because he aided the Horde and then was like, I'll just go off and be my own, third party and stay out of things. And now he's being brought back into things. So yeah, he's definitely no stranger to being independent, and it definitely seems like he's reconsidering trying to be more involved again.
Mm-hmm.
And what I also find interesting is that Valtois, everyone thought it was weird how the Nightborn joined the Horde, and we've data mined dialogue from her later on, where she says, "I was skeptical of the Forsaken when I first joined the Horde, but I was assured that they chose their death of undeath willingly. The Nightborn suffered greatly under the Legion's heel. The atrocities I witnessed, it is distressing how much I am reminded of them now. I will leave it at that." Yep. So they're both
She's not
very
happy.
Yeah, and it's like, what's up with, there has to be something more with Ashvane, because Lady Ashvane kind of went down her path of destruction because she, there could be more to her story, but we know that her husband died along with Jaina's father, and she claimed a hate of the Horde, and she wanted, the Proudmoors to, do more and restore the Empire to their glory. And
that also makes you wonder why she would go back to the Horde.
Yeah, why is she working with them if she...
Yeah.
It's like, does she hate the Proudmoors more than the Horde?
Yeah, like she hates them a little bit less.
Right, so that's all interesting.
Yeah, that is interesting. We'll see where that takes us.
Yeah. Another cutscene that we want to discuss in more detail is Tyrande. You've all probably pretty familiar with the Terror of Darkshore cinematic at BlizzCon, which is showing her with her new model and Malfurion kind of doing her bidding and, killing all these Horde. And now we have some cutscenes related to her actual story. There's one more still to come. Yeah, I think I might be good.
Sorry, I think I interrupted your sentence.
Oh yeah, I think we can show them, just because this is more important, and it kind of shows her character transformation.
Yeah, because you can hear her tone and stuff. Okay, let's go for it.
Yeah. She's like, you're on a spy.
I wish things were different, High Priestess. But with the war raging in both Arathi and Zandalar, an assault on Darkshore would stretch us too thin.
My people need action, not excuses. We will not languish in Stormwind while the Horde defiles our lands.
I vow we will recover Teldrassil before the war is over. But we face dwindling resources and rising casualties. If I can ask your patience for a while longer...
No. We will reclaim our home now.
Tyrande.
We shall have vengeance for the slain, and show Sylvanas that she has not won. And if the Alliance will not aid us, we shall do so alone.
Yeah, there it is. We will reclaim our home now, not later.
Yep.
Not after things have calmed down, now.
Right, and it's more like her Warcraft 3 personality, where the Night Elves sort of did their own thing and, weren't all totally pacifist. It's more that, it's their woods, their forest, and they're going to protect their stuff. And they haven't really been, they're very old culture, but they haven't been part of the Alliance for most of their existence, and they'll just go off and do what they think is best. Do we want to play the after one? There's another cutscene we don't have yet of her transformation into the Night Warrior. But I think if we show the ending one, kind of showing how it's like, okay, this is after she's undergone the ritual. You know, she has on her, like, you know, battle armor. She's, you know, ready to take action. She's inspiring her troops. Just to kind of show, like, how her transformation is complete. I think that would be cool as well.
Yeah, it's a good motivational speech.
Yeah, this is missing some audio effects. So keep that in mind. Like,
if it feels awkward, yeah.
There's a moment where all, like, the NPCs sort of have clapping motions, but you don't really hear anything.
Hover clapping.
Yeah. But it's, you know, I think it's a good speech.
It is. All right, let's jump into it.
Victory is ours this night. Elune has given us the power to save ourselves. The Horde burned our forests, thinking to kill our hope. They died for that folly. For our hope resides not in the trees, but in our bonds to each other. We are Kaldori!
There it is.
Yeah. So after this is complete, the Night Elves that do the quest line will get the special Night Warrior customizations with the special dark eyes and skin tone. And I thought
sorry for interrupting.
Yeah.
Somebody in the chat said Night Warrior, new class confirmed. It's a new customization which will be available for Night Elves in the future once this is live. But yeah, sorry. Let's get back to Perk.
Yeah. I was saying that looking at the background, it's interesting to see who is present. So you have, you know, Malfurion is obviously there, Maiev, you know, Chandris. But you also have some of the Worgen present as well. So the entire Greymane family, you know, Gen, Mia, and Tess are there. And then the Druid trainer, Celestine of the Harvest, and Commander Lorna Crowley. So that makes you think, it's like, oh, you know, the Worgen are also kind of
helping
defying Anduin to help out as well. Which makes you think about Sylvanas, you know, planning in the Battle for Azeroth pre-patch, saying, oh, what if the Alliance split their forces and, you know, go in different places? They'll totally fall.
That was her original plan, right?
Yeah. And it's like, well, they seem to be doing pretty well. She didn't seem to count on Tyrande getting her power up, which is also interesting because it's not just Tyrande. She seems to have this aura. If, you know, if we're all Night Warriors, we're not as powerful as her, but we've got the Night Elves seem to have gotten this buff for being in the forest and assisting with her ritual, which maybe could offset all the Forsaken. Sylvanas seems to be resurrecting in the area.
Yep.
So it's like, and that again goes back to Warcraft 3, how it's the Night Elves are fierce when they're in their element and they're protecting their home, and they, you know, use the power of vengeance to be on their side, and they fight even stronger when, you know, they have to reclaim something. I can't wait to see the actual cinematic when she transforms into the Night Warrior.
Yeah, me too. I wonder if they'll keep it one of those things that you see when it's actually live.
Yeah.
Like, you can't data mine it.
Yeah, it'll be awesome when we see that.
The next cutscene that we have here,
on a less happy topic.
Yeah, a little bit darker, you know, just a little bit darker. We have a cutscene of Derek Proudmoore being revived.
Yeah,
and,
I think we can show this one because it's really important.
Yeah, I agree.
Dark.
I think the this kind of happens straight after the quest line. Wait, let me see. Do you remember what happens right before this cutscene?
Yeah. So, battle is over. Everyone is mourning King Rastakhan, and Sylvanas is like, I have an idea for revenge. Come follow me onto the boat.
That's right, yeah. And it's funny because in that little scene, Gen actually says, no, we should just try to, you know, negotiate instead. And Sylvanas... sorry, yes. And not Gen, Bane. And then Sylvanas says something along the lines of, are you kidding? Like, we just lost King Rastakhan, and the Alliance, you know, had no regret killing him, and we're just gonna try to negotiate. And she said we need to do this the right way. So that's what happened. And this cutscene here is what happens straight after that. So let's play it. That is not the one. This is the one. There we go.
Sylvanas! What reason could you possibly have for this madness?
Derek Proudmoore was a hero to the Coltirans. They are sure to stage a rescue attempt when they learn of his fate. And once his mind has been properly conditioned, we will allow the Proudmoores to recover their long-lost prince, so he can slaughter them in their sleep.
This is too far. How many times must we forsake our honor?
There can only be victory or death for us, Bane. And death is mine to master.
What? What is this? Why am I? What have you done to me?
Why, Lord Proudmoore, I've given you a chance to reunite with your family. You should be grateful.
No!
All right, let's go back to us.
Yeah.
But yeah, there it was. Derek Proudmoore. And
that was pretty heavy.
Yeah. And there's some quest lines after that of him being imprisoned, which just sort of adds on to it, how confused he is, how alone he is, and Bane not being happy with it, keep repeating the idea that this has no honor, and he's just not happy at all of what's going on.
Yeah. And yeah, in the follow-up, Derek is very clear that he's not happy at all, and this goes against the idea that, you know, oh, what Sylvanas does, it's a little controversial, but, you know, she raises everyone that wants to be raised, and we've already had some questionable moments in the 8.1 Darkshore story where she's raising fallen night elves that were, like, very pro, you know, Teldrassil. So it's like, how did that happen? Why are they following her? That doesn't make sense. And now it's like, oh, well, Derek's raised, and he's very unhappy, and now he's imprisoned, and she wants to, like, mind control him to kill his family, which is, you know, raising someone and then forcing them against their will. This sounds like the Lich King again. And Bane also talking about honor again and again. This fits in really well when we've now had the Lost Honor cinematic. How there's this
cat.
Yes, there is this cat who has no honor. And just the theme of Bane keeps repeating this and is finally taking action by going to Talanji and trying to sort out with Vol'jin why Sylvanas was made war chief. And now we have Sourfang also talking about honor. And then, you know, Anduin set Sourfang free. And it's like, will these people actually meet up and get somewhere instead of just complaining about no honor? Because Bane is always, like, vaguely complaining about no honor. He's sort of like subtweeting Sylvanas, but he doesn't really do anything.
Subtweeting, yeah. That's the perfect way to describe it. Yep.
So I feel like, okay, you know, lost honor, Bane's talking about honor, let's get things moving and let's actually do something besides talking about it. Yeah, and it will be pretty dark. I mean, I could see them doing this, but I sort of hope they don't, because Jaina has been through so much. How in 8.1 we have the Zandalari fleet lost, and then King Rastakhan dies, and now Talanji is sort of orphaned. And with how Talanji and Jaina kind of parallel each other, I kind of hope Catherine isn't next to die. Like, what if Derek is successful at killing Catherine but not Jaina, and then it's like, oh, well, now Jaina has no parents left as well. So I hope they don't go that route. But
yeah, me
you never
too.
know.
Too many orphans. No, stop it.
Yeah, and you don't want the story to be super predictable, like, oh, you know, like, this fleet died, now it's time for the other fleet, or like, oh, this person lost their mom, so they'll lose their dad type of thing. But I don't know, I hope the Horde takes action. It's really it's like, it's also weird, like, why was Derek the tipping point? Like, she was raising, you know, night elves and all these races and burned down Teldrassil, and even in Legion there was some weird stuff going on in Dark Mirror where she was like torturing Nathanos's like nephew so we can have a new appearance. Like, she's always been kind of doing weird things and using plague and blight, and this one I guess this made it really obvious to the Horde that she wasn't playing by the rules and there was no way to explain it away. But it's just, it's always
or maybe
interesting,
it
like, what the
hasn't.
tipping point is.
Like,
Yeah.
maybe it's still not the tipping point. Maybe Bane is just talking, right? Like, because he,
Right.
I think he expressed not being happy before as well, and that's still only what he's doing. He hasn't
Yeah.
really done anything about it, so maybe the question is rather, when will the tipping point be?
Right. There were little dialogue options added where you can talk to like Valtois and I think Lorthamar, and you know, they all say things like, this is kind of weird and a
Yeah.
problem. And you almost wonder if they're concerned, but they still don't think they can speak up, because it's like, what are they going to do? Have like Sylvanas kill them and then raise them as servants?
Yeah.
So maybe they're sort of in action, you know, in fear.
Well, hopefully we'll
yeah.
see some action in the near future, because this is way too many people who are unhappy, even Bwonsomdi. So I guess we'll
And then
see.
she's getting Xalatath in the BlizzCon slide to
Yeah.
further make everyone worried. But yeah, speaking of BlizzCon, this is a good transition because we can take the spoilers off.
I was just gonna say, yeah.
There was a very kind of controversial statement in a BlizzCon interview about Sylvanas.
I think I have a screenshot of the text.
Yeah.
Or maybe I don't. Okay, you can go ahead. I'm gonna search quick to see if I have it.
Yeah. So Alex Afraziabi conducted an interview with Eurogamer, and Eurogamer was asking what was the deal with Sylvanas, and he basically said something to the effect of, I've heard these discussions on the internet about she's going off the rails, but is she? I've been writing Sylvanas personally since 2006, and this is pretty much the Wrathgate and the Blight and the Forsaken in character. Those were all under Sylvanas' orders. What we're seeing now is an escalation of the plan Sylvanas has clearly, and we're in the middle of that. And that caused a lot of, you know, controversy, to say the least, because the Wrathgate was a very emotionally charged event where, you know, the Forsaken basically, you know, caused mayhem on the battlefield by dropping plague on the field, and that led to the death of many Alliance soldiers, that led to the battle for the Undercity.
And Horde too, right?
Yeah, I think it was more Alliance though.
Okay.
And people pinpointed, you know, the death, almost death of Bolvar on the Blight, while Sourfang just died out of stupidity charging the Lich King. But Chronicle a few months ago was saying that, you know, she did create the plague at her direction, but they were unclear if she wanted to use it at the Wrathgate, and what was up with, you know, Putres trying to basically take over the Undercity. So it caused a lot of controversy because people felt that the Wrathgate was now retconned and, you know, was Sylvanas' evil master plan, you know, set forward even back in Wrath of the Lich King. And I think it's another case of people realizing that maybe Sylvanas has always been acting extreme, and maybe I think also Alex Afraziabi maybe spoke a little unclearly, because I don't think that Sylvanas' goal was to like destroy the Alliance and the Horde in Wrath of the Lich King. Like in Wrath, she was super focused on destroying the Lich King at all cost. When she escaped from the Lich King in Warcraft 3, she used a poisoned arrow, so it makes sense why she'd be doing something with the Blight. And it's interesting to think, like, would it have been so bad if she, you know, she's focused on using the Blight at all means to win. She doesn't care if the Alliance and Horde are lost because she just wants the Lich King to die. And when he finally dies, she commits suicide and throws herself off of Icecrown Citadel So she really doesn't have any like master plans to like, kill Bolvar as the end goal, or, make the Alliance and Horde hate each other. She's just focused super on the Lich King. And
she's kind of like that now too, right?
Right. It's just the issue is that instead of kind of being the character with the tragic past that is, working to do the right thing, now we're seeing her, have that same extreme do whatever it takes attitude on things that are, not in the player's best interest.
Yeah.
So it's like, oh, maybe we all misjudged her, and, she was really charismatic and tragic, and we thought that, she would act kind of questionably, but always to do the right thing. And now it's like, oh, no, actually, she now has something that's totally out of line with what we hope should get done. What I think is interesting, though, is when I was looking back at the Wrathgate cinematic, we fight the first wave, and we're successful, and then Bolvar yells for the Lich King to come out. He laughs at us, insults us. Sarafing charges at the Lich King, gets one shot, and that's when the Blight is thrown onto the battlefield. And when the Blight's thrown down, the Lich King is nearly killed. Like, he's affected by the Blight, too, and they all have to retreat. So it's like, what if the Blight was successful at taking the Lich King out, because the Blight was the only thing that damaged him,
The only thing that had a chance to hurt him.
Yeah, it's like the Alliance and the Horde, all they did was just like run into the Lich King and get themselves killed. So it's just interesting thinking of how,
if she had succeeded.
Yeah. And then was the backup plan, oh, if I don't succeed, I'll throw, Putres and Varamathus under the bus. So people think that, the Undercity was taken over by them, and everyone's focused on getting rid of these kind of weird characters I always want to get rid of. And then, she's sort of, blame free. So she wins either way. So it's interesting to think about it. But yeah, it's like, what if she was successful? Then she would have been the hero. Then there wouldn't, things would have been over super quickly. So, and I also think it parallels the reaction to the Horde suddenly being upset about the 8.1 events. It's like, well, she's used Blight in many situations. We have like South Shore and, Lordaeron and all these other places, and Warcraft 3, she has poison, and in the Dark Mirror story in Legion, she's killing Nathanos' cousin so he can have like a youthful appearance. That's also kind of extreme. And I think people are realizing that, there's more to Sylvanas, and now that she has this renewed focus on wanting to survive so she doesn't end up in this eternal torment, with her renewed focus, she's taking that same like laser focused and doing whatever it takes to meet her goals, except those goals are different now. With the Lich King not present, she's all about like trying to survive for herself, and that goal is not necessarily aligned if you're, an Alliance player or a Horde player that disagrees with her. So we're all kind of having to rethink, like, oh, Sylvanas was the badass and who, was fighting Arthas in Wrath of the Lich King, and she got her revenge. It's like, well, now she's applying that same personality to a different story, and people are going to be like, oh, well, I shouldn't underestimate her.
For the Horde who are on her side, for them, she is doing the same thing in the sense that she has her super focus, and she makes sure that happens no matter what, and that there will be casualties, including people in her own faction, and some things get ugly, but that's the way to win fast, right?
I mean, she does not want to end up dead in the void with, the ghost of Arthas and just being eternally tortured. She is going to get her Valkyr. She's going to look for ways to raise more Forsaken. She's going to make sure that she does not, get captured or lose all of her Valkyr. She always, even in Legion, with Helia, she tried to have a deal, capturing the Valkyr. Everything she's doing is to ensure the survival of her race, so they're not in that agony that she experienced in the short story after she tried to commit suicide, because she went at the end of Wrath like, I don't care, I'm just so done with this, I want eternal rest, let me kill myself, to in Cataclysm being like, no, I need to stay in this state because if we, lose, like, it's going to be way worse for me, just like constantly being tortured. So yeah, she's still laser focused on that.
And she described it as well before when she said about looking at things long term, like what is the Horde going to be like in, let's say, 100 years? Like, she doesn't care about what's happening now in a couple days. If people die, well, people die in wars, right? And she always says this is war. So she looks at the long-term goals of making sure that the Horde will win.
And, she cares about herself because it's like, well, no one seemed to care about her after she, broke free of Arthas. No one cared to retrieve her body. No one, the Alliance didn't welcome her into Undercity. The Horde, it took a while for them to come around. No one wanted anything to do with the Forsaken when they had broken free. So it's like, well, she wants to care about herself because no one else will.
Yeah.
But yeah, it would be interesting if Alex Afrasiabi could clarify what exactly the Wrathgate involvement was, if she just wanted to use the Blight, or if she was sort of orchestrating this fake, takeover of the city. But I don't really think it changes a ton. I mean, if we know that she wanted the Blight to use it on Arthas, I think that just shows that she's very focused. I think maybe some people are assuming that Alex Afrasiabi is saying, like, oh, BFA is like an escalation of what she's always been like, and they're trying to draw a parallel between her trying to mess things up between factions and Wrath. And I think that that's a misinterpretation of it, because, like I said, once Arthas died, she just wanted to kill herself. Like, she felt her life had no purpose. It was just done and, empty. So I don't think she was trying to start up this whole, like, starting seeds of discontent, take Bolvar out and, make Varian hate the Horde. Like, I don't think she was playing three-dimensional chess at that point, because she just wanted to kill the Lich King.
Yeah. Somebody in the chat mentions that they can hear purring. Yeah, Luna is laying here purring. Yeah. I didn't think you guys could pick it up, but I guess you guys are.
Up, baby. You have water still to clean up, baby.
There's more water to drink on the desk.
Yep, there he is. Hello. Now we have two cats. Well, I guess it still was controversial news. Blizzard had some Allied Race updates because they had some errors on their websites or slides, or had heated discussions and changed things later. But basically, Kultiran humans can be mages, while Zandalari cannot be warlocks. They said that the Zandalari was an incorrectly listed option on the What's Next slide at BlizzCon. They don't have connection to Fel Magic, so they can't be warlocks. Mages were a little more interesting, because I know places like the Lost Codex were asking devs, being like, why can't they be mages? And the devs were like, it's really highly contested, I want them to be mages, because it's like, oh, they're not really magical, but it's like, well, Jaina's kind of like a very obvious mage, and they're like, oh, Jaina had to go to Dalaran to learn how to be a mage, and it's like, well, she's back, and wouldn't she be teaching them how to be mages? Like, she loves to teach, she loves the library.
What was the response when because we asked that, didn't we? No, or I think that was off camera.
Yeah, that was off camera. So
I don't remember what the response was.
They were like, oh, they were like the whole Jaina and Dalaran thing to us.
Okay.
And but yeah, apparently they said that was incorrect. Kultiras can be mages, warlocks cannot be Zandalari. And Brightpaw, I guess, really likes them and is on taking up lots of space again. I'm a little sad about the warlocks that can't be Zandalari, because with the Rastikon's Rumble with Hearthstone that was announced, they were kind of teasing that as like, oh, look, Zandalari paladins, you can be a troll of all, types, and they were sort of teasing that, and then it's like a few hours later they introduced the Zandalari paladins. And you can play as a warlock hero in Hearthstone, and the Darkspear trolls can be the warlock class. So I think people are curious why they can't be warlocks, especially if they're hyping up the warlock troll hero with Hearthstone, and other trolls can be the warlocks.
Who knows? Maybe this one will change too.
Yeah, maybe Zandalari can just be everything.
Yeah. Is it only warlocks that can't be right now?
Well, there's the whole, Death Knight thing.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah. But yeah, I think Warlock is the one they can't be. They can be so many classes.
Okay.
The
next update we have for you guys is well, not an update, but no, I read the next one, but I'm gonna go back one step and actually tell you guys a fun little announcement that this week was the 10th anniversary of Wrath of the Lich King expansion. I went ahead of the schedule a little bit, not update yes. We're gonna mention this one first, and it was really nice seeing on my Twitter feed like lots of different people and companies, like seeing Wowhead tweeting about it, seeing Warcraft tweeting about it, and it makes us realize how long it's been since Wrath of the Lich King.
Yeah, and like just people being like, wow, it's been a decade, like, what was I doing back in the day? I was, in college, or I was debating playing WoW, or I was playing a totally different class, or I was, getting Realm First, or it's interesting just to think how there's still the connecting thread, but a lot of people were in very different life situations back then. So,
and I'm sure for a lot of people with that nostalgia, they probably remember exactly what they were doing at the time.
Yeah, I remember I was going for Realm First Rogue, and then my internet died, so I didn't get that. But I was like really determined to have like Wrath be a really good expansion for me. So that initial week, I was like pushing to get my guild in to get the Realm First that had the special titles like Obsidian Sanctum, and like pushing, for Naxxramas. And I was, really pushing to like get a lot of achievements, being the first person to get a lot of mounts, and like really pushing hardcore on stuff like trying to bring my guild to the next level in that early part of the expansion. And I remember being super sad that my internet died for like half a day when it came out.
That's so unfortunate. Yeah,
I know. I got Realm First Rogue and Cataclysm as like finished business to tie it back, like, oh well, like now I'm going to get the Realm First. That was denied to me. But yeah, so that's where I was in early Wrath, and I remember, having some Sunwell gear and having that being like overpowered, and really pushing to get in all the groups to get stuff done first, and kind of wearing this weird Burden Crusade gear because some of the bonuses were overpowered, and not being able to replace all the gear, but still trying to push to do, that new content. And I remember arguing with people in guild because not everyone realized that the Realm First rewarded an achievement. And I wasn't working at Wowhead at the time. And I was like, no, like, we really should push to do Obsidian Sanctum. Like, there's this site, and it's saying that it shows that there's this title at the bottom of the achievement. And, like, if we do it now, we'll just get this title. Like, we should prioritize doing this instead of Wintergrass for dungeons. Like, let's just kill Obsidian Sanctum. So I remember being really happy getting those special boss titles.
That's awesome to hear. Yeah. It's funny how like you played it to completionist level 100%, and now you've taken all of it to Wowhead.
Yeah. So
and that's awesome.
I can't maintain both things now. I wish I could.
No, it's full-time Wowhead now.
Yeah, I can't, like, it's weird with the Wrath stuff. I won't go back and bring the character that I did all the Realm First. I won't do farming runs because I just want that memory on the character to be the hardcore progression. So, like, I'll bring alts and do transmog, but I just, like, the main character's like, no, I did my billion Yogg Zero runs to get everyone in the guild, and Mimruns mount, and, like, now I'm done. Like, I'm not gonna, I just want to preserve that memory and, like, it's nice, pristine, Wrath state, and not, soloing it and just having it be different now. I'll bring other characters to that.
So no, that's awesome that you have that. And I feel like with the removal of a lot of things like Realm Firsts, characters feels less special.
Yeah.
Like that sort of, I guess, in a way, like the legacy that character has for you doesn't feel like you can do the same anymore.
Yeah, and like I understand why they got rid of the boss titles. Like, they are really cool to have, but when you start getting into things like class stacking, it's like, oh, well, the Shaman never got around to Trial of the Crusader because the Paladin alt they had Bop, which was great for the burrowing phase. And, like, you don't want to feel that someone was forced to, sit, or maybe a trial just wanted to get in and it was the right class and got a special title, and someone that was more loyal to the guild had to sit out for the, the kill. And I remember that was an issue with, like, that was more of an issue, I think, with Yogg Zero, But, you know, I'm happy that I have my little cluster of the Realm First titles, like Magic Seeker and Obsidian Slayer and all of those ones. That was like a cool batch to have because they got rid of them in Cataclysm. So
Yep, they did. And yeah, I mean, it's a good point. Those technical difficulties or social difficulties, I'm not, it's like a mixture of both where you can't be there because of raid restrictions and your class just wasn't meant to be there. I can imagine that really sucks for a lot of people out there who played at the time but just wasn't in the kill video. Or not video, but in the kill.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, but yeah, also Warlords turned 4, but we're not going to really discuss that as much. So.
Yeah, turned 4 years old, like a radio sounds. But now to the update, we have a classic update. And as you guys may know, Wowhead is working very hard on creating a Wowhead sort of section for Classic only, and they have or you guys have managed to add hundreds of thousands of Thoughtbot comments that now have been added to Wowhead. So so how does it work? Like Wowhead kind of owns Thoughtbot, or Zam owns?
Yeah. So Wowhead's parent company owned Thoughtbot. Thoughtbot eventually got shut down, but because we own the company, we own the website.
Yeah.
We can
so you
legally,
can take all of it.
Yeah. So like if we didn't own Thoughtbot, it would be weird for us to pull the comments on because it would be like copyright and ownership. But you know, because Thoughtbot was owned by the same company as Wowhead, it was all right to do. So we went into the archives and we sort of like had a data mine all the old comments again and put them on the right pages. And if you now go to the classic Wowhead site, the classic domain, not the main site, all those old items and spells and quests will have the Thoughtbot ones from classic ported over. So
and that's really cool.
Like you can have all these debates about like some of the comments are useful, but some are really funny. Someone just like, this is a weapon that's better for a mage than a hunter, or like, I hate this mob, it kills me a lot. It's just funny seeing the debates going on in the comments.
I think it's great. I think it makes the whole classic feel more lively as well, for it to not be completely empty, but having those very old comments.
And you can find some really interesting guides back in the day, like the Benediction quest line. There's some interesting, like, oh, this is how, it's almost like the original kind of mage tower, like a healer challenge. So it's fun to go and see like, oh, this is how people wrote guides back then. And here's like a super ancient YouTube video back in the day that was, you know, really popular 15 years ago. So, right, Pawn, no.
Yes, so somebody in the chat was wondering if we're bringing back Thoughtbot for Classic. So no, so Wowhead will have a Classic section, and this Classic section will have all the old comments that users had on the different items or quests or NPCs. All will be imported onto the new Wowhead section. Yeah,
we are looking into having a Thoughtbot colored reskin for the Classic site, so you know, white with the blue accents.
Oh god.
The reason why we're not doing Thoughtbot is that it's just easier to have everything under one domain for performance and code issues. We tried having like branches of Wowhead before with Wowhead and an old version of a Hearthstone site, and it got really messy and led to performance issues, and it wasn't really optimal. And we think that a lot of people currently know Wowhead, while in Classic it's like, oh, did you like Thoughtbot? Did you like Alakazam? Did you like O-Gaming? So we just figured keep it all under the Classic Wowhead umbrella, and we can import in as many old things as we can. So Alakazam was also owned by the parent company as Wowhead, so we do also have plans, for example, to import those comments as well if, you know, they're useful. But yeah, we also feel that we're trying to preserve as many Thoughtbot elements as we can, but when you look at how there was a shift in Burning Crusade to using Wowhead, and how a lot of Classic resources are trying to mimic the Wowhead layout and not necessarily Thoughtbot, you know, we do want to take that into account as well. If there was a reason why all of a sudden people stopped using Thoughtbot and everyone's like, oh, the old school Wowhead layout was cool, we want to reflect that as well on the site. But like I said, we are trying to have the white background with the blue text. Personally, I feel like it'll be really fun for nostalgia, and then like 2 minutes into it, people will be like, okay, this is blinding my eyes.
Yep.
Like,
Yep.
give me dark mode. But you know, we are, like I said, we are working on bringing. We want to give people that option, and maybe that could lead to more options in the future. Like maybe we could have an alliance background or a horde background once we set up this tech to change how things look. But yeah, we're not done with our classic work. We're currently working on DPS on weapons and some more filters, adding things like magic damage, range of damage on spell tooltips. So work hasn't stopped even though the demo's over. There's still a lot more work we can do on the site.
A last, maybe not a last, but a reminder of the giveaway. If you type the word Yeti in the chat, you have a chance to win the new pet Whomper, which is a special case of a charity that Blizzard is arranging or fixing.
Yeah, they're donating. Yeah, they're facilitating.
Yeah. So basically, all of the profits, or all of it, I think, basically, will go straight to charity. Sorry, I think my mind just went blank there for a second.
Yeah.
But yeah,
I know
so
some
soon
people,
we'll choose a winner.
Yeah, we don't have a lot of questions, but I know someone in chat asked us to mention, and he passed it on too, that you can play Overwatch free November 20th through 26th on the PC, PlayStation 4, and Xbox One. So yeah, Overwatch is obviously a very popular game. Yeah, and you know, if you're American, you know, Thanksgiving is next week. If you want a break from family tensions, Thanksgiving is the 22nd, so you can, you know, take a break and play some Overwatch and you know, release some tension, or maybe, you know, introduce your family to Overwatch and you know, kind of like diffuse everything, have a nice family gathering.
It's good to know. So that's in 5 days.
Yep, and all heroes will be available, including the newly released hero Ash. The 19 maps are available in a variety of modes. You can earn your loot boxes, and you can keep progress made during the trial. And during the trial, you can unlock in-game rewards for limited time for some Ash-themed sprays. So, yeah, we love all Blizzard games here at Wowhead. So, you know, yeah, definitely looking forward to that free weekend.
We do normally mostly talk about World of Warcraft, but as Perk said, Wowhead loves all the games, so if there's anything worthy of mentioning, we will make sure to let you guys know. So if you want to try out Overwatch, if you haven't yet, you can play it for free. Or if you play it already and you have a friend who doesn't want to play it because they're not sure if they'll like it, they can now try it out for free. Apparently, we have a winner already, E. Linda. Yay. As long as you respond within 2 minutes, the pet is yours.
Yeah, speaking of non-WoW games, as we're still waiting to respond, I was going to say that we've been covering a lot of Warcraft 3 news on Wowhead recently, so I didn't put that in the show notes this time, but it's always really super popular, so I think next time I would consider putting some of that in the show. Game Informer has like a month straight of coverage, and it's all like behind the scenes of the cinematic and the concept art, and I don't know, really interesting nostalgia details. So, you know, I figure it's a Warcraft themed game. Might as well have Wowhead do a bit more with it, and people seem to really like the coverage so far.
Linda actually responded, so congratulations on your new pet.
Awesome.
There you go. Our last point for the night is a quick reminder again that we just released the YouTube video for our show during BlizzCon, actually straight after, the day after BlizzCon. So if you want to check it out, I'll link it in the chat. The stream was a little bit different, or this Wowhead Weekly was a little bit different. It was an IRL stream. Me and Park were together. We went to the lobby of the hotel and you know, switched on the stream and just talked about all the new things. So you can hear our thoughts and views and things in a more live matter. So I think it could be interesting to watch that if you want to. And because that was just uploaded now, we'll probably wait with having this one uploaded for a day or two, so you guys can have time to catch up with that one first. And I also saw somebody asking about my shirt. So my camera is mirrored, but this is a Coltira's shirt, and I got it from Jinx. And I'm not sure if it's...
Speaking of Jinx, they have they are releasing a new line of shirts, I think, really soon, like one for every expansion. So the rat one looks really cool with like Arthas, and the classic one looks really cool as well.
Oh, cool. I didn't know that. I need to look into that.
Yeah. I think that's coming
Jinx has
next
a lot
week.
of cool gaming gear.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think that just about wraps everything up. Do we have any more questions?
No, someone earlier was asking about the Warfront rewards we were talking about, but we covered that earlier in the stream, so I think Sass linked it to them.
Okay.
But yeah, I think we're all good. I think I'll actually be around to do a show next week if you are. I don't think you celebrate Thanksgiving in Sweden, but
yeah, I'll be around.
Yeah. Okay.
Actually,
yeah, cool.
I'm traveling that weekend.
Oh, okay.
I just realized. So I guess we could maybe do it on the Wednesday instead, or we'll get back to you guys and let you guys know what we decide.
But yeah, I won't be traveling, so we can do it Wednesday.
We don't celebrate Thanksgiving in Sweden, but I have a short trip to London for a little PlayStation thing that I'm doing. So
nice.
I'm gonna be gone for 2-3 days, but we'll keep you guys posted to see if we can do a show anyways.
Yep. All right.
Yeah.
Well, I think that's it.
Yeah.
With the mirroring light, is this still the hand for the high five, or is it the other hand?
No, it's the first one. Yeah.
Yay.
Yeah.
Okay. So I think we're good. All right.
And that reminds me, actually, because I just saw the first draft of my BlizzCon vlog, which I'll share with you once I get it. And you have an IRL high five with me and Perk in that video. So if you guys want to see that, that should be available soon. We'll link it to you guys once it is. All right, let's go. You count.
All right. 3, 2, 1.
Yay! Perfect.
Yay! We forgot the sound, but we got the visuals. So
this one time I did the sound, and Luna got scared, and she's currently asleep right in front of me. So
oh yeah, we can't wake the kitty up.
yeah, I don't want to wake her when she's so peacefully asleep already. So no sound, but perfect high five, right? And I'll make sure to link you the video. When I watched it yesterday, I was like, oh my god, it's so cute.
Aww. Yeah.
It's like IRL high five. And Sass is in that video too, actually.
Oh yeah, the bowling alley and stuff. That was fun. I hadn't been there before. That was cool.
Actually, my camera died in the bowling alley. I was actually so sad about that. So I kind of cheated. I knew that it was about to die, so I was like, someone hold my camera. I need to say thanks and that I won the bowling. Even though we haven't played yet. This is the secret behind the scenes. In the video, it seems like we've been playing bowling, and I recorded it at the end. But I actually recorded at the beginning because my camera was dying. Everything is dying. Battery dying everywhere. But we also have a clip of when Sass is showing off his pins. So that's something that you'll see.
Yeah, very cool.
So yeah, just some, behind the scenes secrets. Don't share with anyone. Only you guys are allowed to know.
Yeah.
Yeah, thank you guys for everything. For watching, for following, for subscribing. I noticed some subs. I don't remember the names right now, but I did notice you guys. I saw them. Thank you very much for that. Thank you also, and a shout out to people who are using the Wowhead Premium subscription on the website, and for just being around and hanging out. It's very nice seeing that you guys are interested in all of these things, because sharing a passion is always fun. So thank you.
Yep.
And thank you, Perk.
Yep. Thank you, and it was really awesome seeing you at BlizzCon in person.
Yeah, it was awesome seeing you too.
I had fun.
It was really cool doing IRL stream.
Well.
Yeah.
I had fun with that.
I wish we could have had the cats there too.
Well, maybe
I think it's too
time.
complicated for me.
Yeah,
maybe you could, but I don't know if I could.
Yeah, you could visit. We could do a stream at my house, which is kind of close to Anaheim, and have the cat running around.
Oh yeah, we could have your cat. I don't think I could take Luna with me over there.
No, that would not be good.
No.
That would be a little thing for Luna.
That would be torture, that plane ride. But yeah. Anyways, yeah, girl talk now.
Yeah.
Take care, everyone. We'll see you guys next week. Hopefully, we'll keep you guys updated on Twitter. Bye-bye.
Bye.